dog for sure. That dog needed to be taken.
We are here for the IUPA negotiations. John McKinney, Assistant City Manager.
Carly Meek, Assistant City Attorney.
Andy Marino, Chief of Police. Chris Raines, Vice President of IUPA.
Kyle Todd, Business Agent, IUPA.
Brian Lambert, Attorney, IUPA.
William Harrison, IUPA Board Member.
Jared Alvasados, IUPA President.
Ted Curtis, Treasurer.
Candace Gates, HR Generalist.
Sharon Kranick, HR Director.
So the first document I gave y'all is just where we left off last meeting. Just our status on the various articles, what has no change, what we've TA'd, and if there's something outstanding, I put the notes to the side so everyone could see it. Nothing more than that, just, a status. So the first item that I wanted to talk about is I will go right to Article 29, if you don't mind, Jared. Okay, so I apologize. It was the way it was sorted. maybe split them by the articles. Um, Okay,
Thanks, Bill.
so, Jared, as I've informed you all along, I'm obviously working with PBA as we go. The negotiator of PBA is also the, Police Pension Board Chair. So we've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The city has proposed a change to the ordinance of the definition of compensation, as it relates to vacation and sick accrual cash outs annually. There has been a question on, how that's to be done. We believe that we've come up with a very mutually beneficial redefinition of compensation. Since Monday, I've made a proposal, I proposed the amendment of the ordinance to the Police Pension Board. They had a comment. I made the change to rectify, the potential may versus shall with our city attorney. And since Monday, we've been trying to get a hold of the police pension attorney to discuss that. We received again yesterday afternoon another requested change by the chair of the Police Pension Board. So again, we're good with making those changes. We're just trying, as I stated numerous times, this is more a city attorney to pension board attorney issue versus negotiations. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is Mr. Little it was relayed by Mr. Carmen or Warren that per the actuary, if one person within the group that did not have the accruals pensionable wishes to have those deemed pensionable income for retirement purposes, then that will force Mr. Little to redo the valuation that was presented to the board back in February. That's item number two. Item number three is you and I, the city versus IUPA, had made an agreement to have 6 items researched, for a cost impact study. And Mr. Little, is at this time unable to complete those cost impacts pending these changes. So that's item number 3. Item number 4 is obviously, the city is wanting to negotiate on retirement benefit improvements. Been no question on that between you and I, over the last year. We just can't go forward with those until we have those cost impacts, because by law, we've taken every last one of those 6 items to council. Last year we agreed to, do 3, pay for 3. IUPA would pay for 3, and so on. So be it. City council obviously cannot adopt any ordinance changing retirement benefits without that cost impact. So again, the city in no way, shape, or form is trying to delay getting this rectified. This whole issue with the accrual cash out was done to the letter of the city ordinance. No questions asked this past year. We have had to do a lot of work, and we have shared with Mr. Carmen all of these, things. I've met with him multiple times, letting him know where we are with this. So what this document here is stating is that Sharon and I have gone through and looking at all the items that are on there, because, we want to make sure that we can recruit highly qualified individuals to the Port Orange Police Department. So with item A on here, we feel that, 52 years of age and the completion of 10 years of credited service is very reasonable compared to other agencies in the surrounding area. That's item number 1 on this. Item number 2 is also 25 years of retirement at 25 years of credited service, regardless of age, is also a very warranted item based on, surrounding agencies. So item A is one thing that Sharon and I, your city negotiating team feel that, we have the appropriate, surveys to warrant, taking these items to council for consideration and approval. And then item B, average final compensation for both tiers shall be best 3 of 5. Yes.
What's your justification for making the benefits worse than they are?
How are they worse, sir?
Well, from the way I understood it, our retirement is 48 and 10 years. And for tier 1, it's the best of 3.
Well, that is the,
You put it at 52
Yeah.
in 10 years.
Yep.
So that adds
Yep.
4 years more than the person that
Yep.
do. And then you're putting it, that final compensation would be the
Yep.
best of 5 years. 3
okay,
of the 5.
well, this is our proposal that we're,
We'll talk about it
Yeah.
when we
Yeah,
talk.
again, state of Florida, FRS, and again, we've been in numerous negotiations over the past year saying we're trying to follow some of the guidelines of FRS. As of July 1st, it's 55 and 8 and 25 regardless of age. So again, trying to mirror some of it, but also realizing you also have an employee contribution that is greater than that of a state, employee. So that was recognized too. So again, sir, this is just our counter to an item that y'all have presented, to create, parity among some other agencies. And then for item B, Jared, is average final compensation being best 3 of 5 years. So, I thought there was a little bit of ambiguity in there because it said just best of 3. The average of the highest 3 is at 3 of 5, 3 of 10, 3 of 20. Could Chris, have, been a deputy chief 15 years ago here in the city and just wanted to be a sergeant. So 15 years ago, he was making far greater than he's making today. And, how far back does that look back? So that's just where we're asking is, just please define the average of 3. Okay?
And don't you have the same problem with that? Which
Yeah.
best 3 of, which 5 years are we taking the best 3 out of?
That's all I'm saying is here's our counter proposal, to what y'all are saying is we just need some clarification on what has been presented to us. No more, no less. Okay? So Jared, on this, we in no way, shape, or form want to delay any of the negotiations. We realize that there is a lot of uncertainty on, are we going to get the cost impact from Mr. Little in the next 30 days or 60 days? One thing I just want to point out to you, I do not want to delay any benefit improvements. The city wants to go forward with that. That promise has been made. So what I'm countering to you is that these are items that if you look at your Article 29, it's specifically states that the city will provide and maintain a retirement plan for police officers as required by city ordinance. So all I'm stating to you is if we don't know when Mr. Little will have this in, we're willing that if it comes, if we move forward with this and it comes back to us on October 1st, we'll reopen it immediately and get an MOU out there, so that we're not delaying everything else within these negotiations. So that's where I feel we are on Article 29. Article 21. And again, I'm trying to go with our easy ones. No, they don't. We just got to hand them to them. They do. I gave them everything.
And John, I also want to clear up that Articles 13 and 14, Brian and I are okay with leaving them as they currently are in our current contract.
Okay, yes. Jared tells me they're good to go, then we can say no change.
Okay.
So yes, I was handling the items for me.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just want to make sure I
Yep.
didn't lose sight of that,
Yep.
that's all.
I didn't know.
And I just wanted to make sure that we did, Jared, we did solve this or TA this.
Mhm.
I just wasn't for certain. I just didn't have in my notes if we had TA'd that, Candace.
We have,
Yeah,
We did on 5/8.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
we have
Okay,
signed it.
okay, then we're done with that one. Okay. Hours of work. So I want to kind of do, Jared, Article 15 and 28 together, because if I start talking about 15 without you having 28. So
There's an extra left. I do.
So as we talked about at the last meeting on Article 15, we keep having the issue when it comes across on a holiday, how to treat, the holiday versus the, when you're working 80 versus 84 hours, you obviously can't have premium pay. Holiday, pay doesn't go towards your premium pay. So one of the things that we were just trying to clarify with this is going back to the FLSA 7K exemption, which allows for, overtime doesn't start accruing until after you work 84 hours. So one of the things that we talked about in this is that, we do not want you to lose the 4 hours of overtime. Okay, that we wanted to build that into your hourly base rate of pay. So as been stated, y'all provided your proposal to us. We have pretty much been uniform in that, council has, we've made the commitment of a minimum of 5% pay increase across the board. But when I took a look at what the base officer's pay was, then in order to compensate them for that 4 hours of overtime, I had to increase that 5% by 2.5%. So the pay increase proposal that the city's giving to you for Article 28 to includes not only the 5% increase, but also a 2.5% increase to compensate from going to the 80 to 84 hours until overtime is calculated. So that's where I stand on 15.2. 15.5, that was language, Brian, that we already, kind of went through and agreed to, and we had no issues with. So no change there. So that's where we are on the city's proposal for Article 15. Okay. So then we go to Article 28. As I stated, this here has a 5% increase over the MOU that was approved by council on back in April. I've already closed it. Plus 2.5% to, compensate for, as I stated, the calculation of overtime when you go from 80 to 84 hours. Then I also in 28.1, I wanted to provide clarity because I know this was it is a huge issue with pretty much any ERP system that you have, that making it stated that it's affected the first full paycheck of October. So if October 1st is the last day of a fiscal year, the, payday, then it would go into effect October 2nd, for that pay period. That's being uniform across, this was our only bargaining unit that didn't have that first full paycheck. So just trying to, not so much of creating uniformity as much as, the system just has a, hard time delineating on an effective date. It wants to go back to the first day of the pay period. So then we're making, adjustments in pay, for that one day versus letting the system do it. So that. Item B, under 21.A, I don't believe that that's, really a necessary item, Brian, in there, simply because we're stating, that the new pay goes into effect the first full paycheck of October versus having the information in there versus anniversary date. If Bill Harrison, his anniversary date's on November 1st, your pay goes into effect October 1st. And again, that's keeping things uniform, across everyone. We're trying to get it so that everyone's increase of pay is the first full paycheck of a fiscal year. So if you started, February 1st, and, you would get your new increase October 1st. Then item D, this was part of the last contract that's expiring September 30th, is remove the $500 one-time lump sum payment. Then I had no other changes in Article 28 from our proposal. Nothing on 29. On Article 32, so Jared, for Article 32, duration of agreement, what we are simply proposing on this, again, is trying to make sure that, there's not confusion. So for 32.1, that's basically, clarifying, what the duration of the agreement is. Article 32.2 is, what we've previously talked about and had in the previous one, was that that's talking about the annual openers, and that they would also be two mutually agreed upon articles in year 2 and 3 of this contract. And again, just, this next sentence simply is the statement that, if we find that there's something that we agree to that needs to be reopened, like line of duty death, if we both agree to it in the middle of, the agreement, we can still open items up. And item 32.3, frankly, that's governed by FLSA. If federal law changes, I'm legally bound to adhere to any changes of how hours are calculated by federal law. So to have it spelled out in there, it's not necessary because I already have a requirement. So that's where the city is at this point in time on our proposals to you, based on everything that we've heard. I was told by the city attorney, and Carly did mention it already, that y'all had agreed that there was going to be no change to Articles 13 and 14. So if that's okay with you, then I will, list the no change date as of June 15th.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable, Jared, to have 13 and 14 say no change as of today's date?
Yes.
And then Article 25, we don't have anything for you, but I want to just make the statement that Sharon and I did meet earlier. previous to this. And we have our agent of record, Brown and Brown. As y'all are aware, our premiums are up for renewal. It's a January 1st to December 31st. So we are asking them to look at other options. And that might include, options outside of our current Florida healthcare. Not saying we're making a change, but, we might be able to provide a less expensive, but just as a beneficial plan to the employee, but it might not be of the same, Florida healthcare. And if we did that, if we move from Florida healthcare, and again, I'm not saying that we are, but, that could present, if you went with a Blue Cross or a Aetna, your doctors that you use today might not be available, but the price to the employee and price to the city might be less expensive. So we are looking at those opportunities so that we can bring those back to you. But obviously, our plan data, and I can tell you that, this quarter, we have items coming off our previous claims that will definitely help for our renewal.
In your presentation to city council, coupled with your budget presentation, you expected insurance costs to go up 10%. Does that mean our insurance cost is going to go up 10%? That's what we took that to mean.
So, Mr. Harrison, last year the city absorbed all of that.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking you now.
So I can't tell you that until I get to what our state revenues come in at, what the millage rate. I can tell you that every one of us that are city employees that have any kind of dependent coverage are in the same. So, I will do my best, as the city finance director as well, to keep costs as low as possible, as we're sharing. We're all impacted from it. So luckily,
you're saying you're looking for a cheaper plan, but you told city council 10% more. So
I said two things.
you did.
The first thing I said is our current plan, I could see a 10% increase because they held the cost on us. Okay, that's statement number one.
Yeah.
Statement number two, to comply with, concerns that y'all have brought up, is we can go after potential, a cheaper line of coverage, but it could force us to all make changes. Different providers, we might not have workforce wellness. It could be that we don't have workforce wellness, but, there might be, again, I don't want anyone outside this room thinking this is what we're doing, because I'm not. We're not. We're just looking at what those costs are. We could have a different, clinic that we use, Centricare, anybody. There's plenty of them
You're
out
open
there.
to shopping.
That's all we're saying, is because I am in the same boat as you when it comes to I pay the same thing for health insurance. Okay. But y'all's points duly noted. We're working towards it. Okay. Jared, that's all I have today.
I need to caucus for a few minutes before we give you any kind of any.
No worries. Yep. We'll be out in the lobby. Just let us know.
Okay.
I'll stop the recording. year, 56 and up.
Forever young.
Sorry.
Body and
Yes, sir.
So the kids
All right.
are historic events.
So for Article 32,
Yep.
the 32.2 mutually agreed upon articles, we're not good with that. If we want to raise an article, we want to be able to raise it.
Okay.
Um,
So how would you like the language to be?
I mean, 2 articles of their choosing is fine. I don't care if it's 2 for the union, 2 for the city, or how you want to do that, but
Previously, you did two.
So-
The city chose two and we chose two.
that's
We just don't
probably
want to
the
be
easiest way.
beholden to you in any way, shape, or form for what we decide to try to open with. Or you beholden to us.
If just Jared, submit the language and I'll send you this Word document and track changes on how you prefer it.
Okay, perfect. And then with 15, we don't, that is beholden to 28 wages. With regard to the wages, the city proposal keeps it, the compression issue exactly as it is. We were trying to get to somewhere around a 2.5% per step. That way people feel like they're actually getting somewhere.
So you're asking for a 2.5%
Per step.
per step?
That way it's, when you're going up a year, you feel like you're actually getting something rather than, I think it's pretty close to 1% per step right now. And that's just rough math in my head, which I'm terrible at math, so.
Jared, I've sent you that table and you can send a counter to that, please.
Okay.
And I think the step is made pretty clear by how many officers are leaving every year.
And on that, I use the step plan that you already have in place, so.
No, I know.
Yep.
We're just making it clear what we were trying to do with our proposal.
Okay.
With regard to the pension itself, for the average final compensation, it should be high 3. That's the way most of them are typically done, and that's what you guys would want.
So that's 3 out of every year you've worked.
High
Yep.
3.
Never seen it.
Yeah, typically they're just written average of the best 3 years.
I've always just seen 3 out of 5. But I've never seen it. Yeah.
High grade.
I've, Jared, I've sent you that language too.
And then I think, is that it? Was there something else?
And on that,
480, so bring back the bargaining unit. We're not going to discuss that, so we can.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, and Jared, I just lost my train of thought, never mind. Oh, on the high 3, I mean, I can tell you, 2 is, I get your point, but every scenario I've ran over the last couple of weeks on this whole, accrual cash out, I've never seen anyone yet make less money.
Oh, I haven't either.
So yeah, so
Oh, no, we're talking about.
I've never seen anyone make
Yeah.
more money 7 years ago than they did the last
Oh,
couple of
that's
years.
because
So-
you guys don't have anybody assigned to BBI yet, or any of these other task forces where they're going out and getting 500 hours a year overtime.
Well, but we can't.
We can't.
We're capped at 300 hours by statute and our ordinance.
Right, well, 300 hours,
So-
still, how many officers are getting 300 hours a year right now?
Quite a few.
Are they?
Yes, sir. We have a lot of mandatory overtime and
So-
everything.
so
and
if they
extra
stop-
shifts.
Move from a position where they're no longer getting that much overtime, their years can be over. We specifically had a guy in VBI where his high numbers were like 8 years before he retired. Then he got injured severely and sat and made
What
no
year,
overtime.
what year was that?
I don't remember.
So.
I can give you an.
Yeah, but I won't disagree with your statement, but I would make a good odds that it was pre-2012, March 1st.
No,
But it wouldn't have counted anyway because he's capped at 300 hours of overtime towards pensionable income.
but in the past, he was making that 300 hours every year because he was on the special team. He left that special team, and then the last couple of years of his career, he was doing rehab, trying to get back to work, making no overtime. So his high,
Either way, it's not a huge difference,
Right.
so it's kind of one of those things that,
I've seen it happen.
yeah, it happens in a very small percentage, and we want to protect the people that it could possibly happen to.
Mhm.
You know, it's not going to have that big
Yeah.
a
And
cost on the
please
bottom
remember,
line.
I get y'all are the CBA, the union, not the board, pension board, but it's also about making sure that we have a fiscally sustainable pension that's here today and tomorrow. So, I do feel that the items that we have presented, on our counter is in line with that, but also you said, people leaving, also recognizing when we want to give individuals the potential that whether it's a tier 1 or tier 2, 25 and out. And again, with everything, these are our staff negotiating proposals, trying to get something, you hear, me here, or vice versa, trying to come to something that's mutually agreed upon between both sides, because everything has to still go, Jared, as you recall, has to go before city council and an executive session for final approval, because I have no approval on a monetary items to sign off on. So just reiterating that for everybody.
And
No,
what's the
it-
pension is currently what, 85%,
No, I think it's 89.
89%?
Well, and that's the other thing that we wanted to make sure that we brought up again is that, with the 185 monies being a 2.5% fee on insurance, and insurance is up, I think the average is about 60-something%. That means that the 185 monies are going to be that much more. So there's that pot as well that the officers have signed over the excess as of now. So it's pension's very well funded, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our proposal was to get everyone on the same plan, and that makes things easier for everybody as well.
I agree, and I believe our items that we put in here today, there's nothing tier related. It's for both.
So
Now, remember, everything that we agree here has to also be agreed to by PBA. And when we met with PBA on Tuesday, we made this, because they're also looking at enhancements, I made the suggestion to them to please get with your counterparts at IUPA to make sure y'all are both on the same page of what y'all are asking for. So I'm relaying to y'all is please get with PBA so that y'all are united in the ask. Please. Because we came close to line of duty death not going through.
We did, but like
that
I
was
said,
different.
that was
Very,
different.
very different.
And my proposal for the pension stuff was agreed upon, accepted, and tentatively accepted all the way up to the assistant chief. So I went above and beyond to make sure that I was making everyone as happy as I could.
I know.
So that's why I'm not, that's why I have no position to change what the last proposal was on pension stuff. But we'll get the rest of it to the bargaining unit to bring back to you for the next session.
And please remember, doesn't mean that I'm not taking the items that we agreed to get the cost impact on. We're just saying that we know that these are two for, recruitment and retention that, I think we feel is definitely be able to be supported. Doesn't mean council might not do something else in addition to.
Oh, I know.
So,
There's certain council members that think nothing happens in this city.
anything else, Jared?
I do not. Brian, do you have anything?
When is the shade meeting Because I heard the last shade meeting got canceled.
Yes, sir, July 24th.
24th.
So again,
So,
so here's what I'm asking you,
because you're setting millage the 24th, aren't you?
25th.
25th. So,
So so I have given y'all our proposals. If you would like to put that back together and give me a counter proposal, I have no problem in obviously having a meeting with you in the prior to the July 11th workshop.
You're not having a shade meeting till July 24th. So you can't give us any actual answer until. hours
Everything that
before
I have shared with you
or
today
notice
has
it.
been shared with the city manager, and I have, nod that this is in line.
so we have a tentative date for contract meeting with you, July 11th at 2 p.m.
Which precedes that. So if you would like to bump that up a week, I'm perfectly fine with it, Jared.
I don't really see a reason to meet
No,
until
because
after
the shade meeting doesn't happen until 24th.
Right,
so-
right.
yeah.
But again, if we're close,
Mhm.
then I will do my best to build the presentation on July 11th with placeholders
Right, so we'll do.
budgetarily.
So we'll do July 11th tentatively, and then I think we should set a,
Okay, so let me back up a second. July 11th means that I have to have the presentation completed by July 7th.
for the 11th workshop.
Yes, sir.
So
So if
why
you would,
don't we just move,
Three to fourth.
not 3 to 4th?
That's the 4th of July.
Yeah. I'm not-
Jared, I'll be out of the country.
So-
so you want to do the 4th at 3 o'clock?
No. I'm
We,
not here.
we can
We'll do
always, we can always just send a written proposal and that's what they can use.
Yeah, and I'm good with it.
We'll
Yeah.
send it,
So-
I can
I was
send
gonna
you,
say
so
that.
All I have
That'd
to
be
say
the
is received.
No, we don't have to sit down. We can just send a written
okay,
proposal and
we can
that'll do
send
it.
the written
If
proposal
I have questions,
before the 11th.
can we do a
Yeah.
Teams for this?
Yeah, we'll send a written,
fine.
we'll
I
send a
think we'd
written
have to
proposal
have,
over. That way
uh,
they'll have it
notice
if they have any
meeting.
questions, they'll get back and we can meet if we have
Yeah.
to. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
But I don't.
Sorry,
as of
need
now,
to.
it's just pretty much numbers.
Because once I have,
Yeah.
right, whatever I set with the bargaining unit, it just be forwarded over to them.
Yep, so let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do we want to set a tentative date of July 6th, just in case there's questions that need conversation? It's better to have a placeholder than you call me on the 6th or send something to me on the 6th.
I have you guys on the 6th.
That's,
I will
I'm
not
sorry,
be here on the
Duh.
6th.
I 10 o'clock. yeah.
I will not.
Yeah,
be
we
here.
had that originally. Well,
July
if you,
6th.
July 6th, yeah, I'm looking at it right here.
Screw
Yeah,
it.
but
Do we
you,
have it?
Let's just go ahead and
well, but hold on.
pencil it in.
So pencil in is like, if we're only talking wages on your counter proposal, Carly's unable to be here.
The whole legal department will be here.
Yeah, the whole legal department. So I cannot have the meeting
But
if.
Isn't
you're-
it just for you to understand it with it? Because it wouldn't
Receiving
be
our proposal.
any legal issues or anything. It would just be any questions you had about the proposal. And I mean, I'm expecting we won't even need it because we've already discussed
It
all
might-
this.
Yes,
so,
absolutely. I just
but I
making it
don't
known that
care
I
how we
can't
do it. Yeah,
have the meeting if you're here.
Hmm?
I said
That's
I'm
fine.
unable to
Yeah.
hold the meeting if you're here.
that's fine. I wouldn't need to be here for that. It would just be you guys explaining it
What
for any
time is
questions
that?
you had. So,
10 o'clock.
yeah. so-
Yeah, we had canceled it and made it the 11th, but
Okay.
it's still on my calendar.
Yeah, so- That's fine. Let's
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, I'm not expecting any questions. It's,
Yeah, because I have you on my calendar.
unless you guys
about
ask
the
for
6th
unicorns, you
anyway.
may want to ask for unicorns in wages. Then you
I'm
can
gonna ask
explain
for-
that.
I'm gonna ask for Corvettes.
Oh, don't do that. Do something, that
Come on.
doesn't fall apart when you bump into something.
I could bump in something with the police car I have and it falls. I promise you.
You should do the Indian River thing and do a forfeiture on like a Ferrari and tape that up in the
Yeah.
police paint.
Enjoy your trip wherever you're going.
Thank you. I will try. There's nothing.
All right.
Okay, anything else, Jared?
No, that's it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, have a nice vacation.